5-pound watermelon was sitting out in front, and a 5-pound watermelon will buy the producer of that watermelon $5 today. Does that help explain that thing?
What does. One of the things that we like to do weekly, Jim, is look at some proactive things that people can be doing. And you have your sort of financial forecast. Financial forecast is great. You're looking at the super wealthy, you're looking at the American middle class, and you're looking at the struggling poor with a proactive agenda for each. Not only what is the current prognosis, but what can be done in light of your article's content. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about what your financial forecast is?
I tried to break this down and just say, because nobody's done this. People write about hyperinflation, and they scare you. If you read the right 2 or 3 people, they might scare you about hyperinflation, but nobody tells you what to do. So I just broke it down, and you'd need to read the article, I hope, because the summary took more than 2 minutes to explain. But basically, it just looked to me like 3 things. One, if you're super wealthy and do any thinking today, you can really avoid most of the damage of hyperinflation. The easiest answer to that would be, and this isn't what I wrote in the article that you can do, but when Harry Figge was down in Argentina, the whole economy and the whole society was destroyed, and yet there were still people playing golf out on the golf course. And Figge said, how does that happen? He went to the manager of the golf course and says, how does that happen? He said, the people who are playing golf out there, they pay their dues every month, and I get paid in either Swiss francs or German or American dollars. So they had totally taken their money out of the country, which is, as you follow the discussion we've just had, isn't really a very good possibility today. So the super wealthy, if they think, can really avoid this. The middle income group are the ones that we're really, really in trouble with, because the middle income group, and I would say the middle class in America, and if you look historically, middle classes get wiped out. They're gone. And they're gone because all of a sudden $60,000 in savings becomes $57 in buying power, and they get wiped out. Their savings are gone. So in the case of those people, there really, at this point, would be a very questionable strategy, but one which I would use because I believe the whole world is filled with risk. I don't think you ever escape risk. Most Americans want something safe, but I think if you look at life, life has risk from the day you're born. So a risky strategy would be to start to set aside gold and silver coins in lieu of paying off all of your debt immediately, just on the basis that the silver and gold appreciation might be 2 or 3 or 5 or 10-fold, and make it very, very easy 2, 3, 4 years down the line to pay off the debt with a couple coins. So that becomes possible. The third area, which I put in because I think it's very important, and because we see it in politics today, and we see it just in envy today, is that there are the struggling poor, or there are people who really have given up on America, people who say, I just want you to make us all equal. I think the Democratic Party, in many ways, says we can make everybody equal if you'll give us a chance. And, of course, we all know from history that means equally poor and equally out of the game completely. But anyway, the poor are really in a very difficult spot, and the liberal wealthy are in a difficult spot because they either have to reverse and decide they believe in America and play the game that we understand, the American free enterprise system, or they have to say, no, I want government to regulate it and make us all equal. And if they do that, as I mentioned in the article, and I've thought about this for years, I think you're looking at a Dr. Zhivago red-white civil war revolution within America. And I would argue in a tiny way that as you look at political parties today, that they are farther apart and more angry and listen less to each other than any time in my lifetime, which is really a great concern. It does make you wonder how it'll all turn out.
Jim, that's really a thumbnail sketch. You've got a lot more in the article, and I would encourage any of our listeners to request that. I so enjoyed reading it that we are going to format that for an emailable version, but also be looking for it in the June McIlvaney Intelligence Advisor. We want to get that out ASAP because of its importance. We thank you, Jim, for that contribution. But you go through in detail some specific recommendations the super wealthy should consider, that the middle class should consider, and that the struggling poor should consider. Very proactive things. Oftentimes we look at very bad news and end up wearing sort of a grim outlook, and that's really not the case. I mean, there is, as you've said, Jim, pretty positive outlook that the folks...
Well, I would interrupt you, David, just with one point, because it's the thing that drives my life, to be honest, and that's the fact that change is amazing. And we've seen change in our lives. I have, obviously, through my lifetime. But change creates amazing opportunity. And if you look at the specific recommendations that you're talking about in that letter, and there are many, they give you amazing leverage. You can sit there and wring your hands and say it's all over, or you can say, if I get this right, instead of doing it wrong, if I get it right, There's huge leverage. If I want to be president of the United States, I can be president because we're going to have the whole political thing up in the air. And if I want to run for president and I'm 50 years old today, I bet you I can make it. I think we already see one candidate who's trying to do that. But I think everybody sees huge opportunity. If it's financial reward or if it's a business, many, many businesses fall by the wayside. New businesses, new people will need new things. So I get very excited about that, David. You're right.
Jim, it's interesting. You had ended your article where it said, if you just take time to think, the next phase of the money game is simple. Now it's up to you. Jim, thank you for joining us today on the McAlvany Weekly Commentary at McAlvany.com, McAlvany. And if the listeners would like to get your advanced copy of Are We There Yet?, the hyperinflationary report written by Jim Deeds, just give us a call at 800-525-9556 and give us your email, and we'll be happy to send that advanced copy. It will also show up in the McAlvany Intelligence Advisor in June, but you probably don't want to wait that long. Again, this is the McAlvany Weekly Commentary. Thanks for joining us.
This has been the McAlvany Weekly Commentary. The views expressed should not be considered to be a solicitation or a recommendation for your investment portfolio. You should consult a professional financial advisor to assess your suitability for risk and investment. Join us again next week for a new edition of the McAlvany Weekly Commentary.